Hello everyone and welcome back to the One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Colin and today we are going to do a playthrough of Hellboy, the board game. We've already done 1 or 2 on this channel before, but this time I'm going to be joined by Bairnt. Now if you wanted to see a full setup of the game, I have done setups for both of my previous playthroughs. We're not going to go through a full setup, we're simply just going to walk through our case file, which we're going to do hunting party, and then we're going to jump right in. So let's go ahead and do that. Despite our best efforts, frog monsters continue to be a thorn in our side. Heck yeah, they do. For each nest we put down, another one seems to spring up. We're working on a long-term solution, but until we get there, we'll just have to keep on shutting them down. No prizes for guessing today's assignment. An advanced team thinks it's found a sign of a nest in an old warehouse, so it's business as usual. Get out there and then sweep the place clean. We've got solid evidence that there's another big specimen here, so make sure you track it down and confirm the kill. We don't expect it to be easy to find, but the job's not done until you do. So you can see here this is a hard scenario, which means we'll probably lose, and the duration is medium. Here it shows us which Doom cards to pull out. So we've got the regular ones, the green ones, and the blue ones. We are playing with all 4 of the main characters, so I'm grabbing all of those. Since we're playing with 4 agents, each of us is controlling 2. Bairnt's going to control Hellboy and Liz. I'm going to control Abe and Johan. We will have 4 green encounter cards and 2 red ones. And then you can see here it says draw one of those cards and shuffle it together with one of the random pink cards to form the bottom of the encounter deck. Draw 3 more and shuffle them together with another random pink card and put them on top of the encounter deck. And then finally, shuffle the remaining ones with the final pink one, and we're going to put them out on the board. This is how our board looks like at the beginning. I've placed insight markers on spaces 3, 6, 8, 10, and 12 of the information gathered, and we have a reaction token on spot 7 because we're playing with 4 agents. It says here if the impending doom marker reaches the trigger marker or if all the agents have been knocked out at the same time, skip to the end phase, slip this card and at the end of the end phase, and then move this card to the in play area, and we'll discard it if the confrontation begins. The warehouse is damp and musty, and as the door closes behind you, you can hear the sound of dozens, hundreds of frogs calling out in the dark. There's no question that you're in the right place. Now to see if you can pick up that big one's trail and track it down. So we'll once again use the same set of 4 monster types, or I should say minion types: the transforming frog monster, rampaging venomous frog monster, and armed frog monster. Then we'll go ahead and begin the first round. When a point of interest is placed on the board, we'll flip this card. At the beginning of the game, we do have 6 credits we can use to buy some equipment. So what I've done is I've bought the armor-piercing ammo for Abe. It says here I can spend an action cube and actually put that onto a sidearm. And what it's going to allow us to do is go through some armor, which is totally sweet for Abe. As you can see here, his best stat is shooting, so that's why it's important. Johan over here has the field dressings, basically just to help people heal up. That also cost 1 credit. You can see up here, that's the total cost. For Liz over here, I got her the tracking device. This cost us 2 credits, but we can actually spend an action to look at a face down encounter card and then flip it back over. But what's really nice is it allows us to kind of know what to expect when we open up a door. And then finally, for Hellboy, we do have our Ancient Blade. It's going to boost up his melee attacks. Look at, normally his melee attacks are red, so we can actually get black dice. You better believe I gave Bairnt Hellboy. He's going to have fun smashing, hurling, throwing. Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. Here we have our round summary. We'd start with that enemy phase, but remember there's no enemies to start the game, so we'll jump right into the agent phase. We each have 3 action cubes, and we can spend them however we would like, in any order we'd like. So Hellboy could use 1, then Abe could use another, then Liz could use all 3 of hers. Part of the fun part of the game, and I'm really excited to play this cooperatively with Bairnt. Let's go ahead and start with that agent phase. I do also want to mention the target priority. Hellboy is on the top, followed by Liz, followed by Abe, and finally Johan is at the back. And remember, this is whenever there's a tie of which agent you need to choose for something. You'll always pick the one farther up on the track, and then they get pushed down to the back side, and all the other ones move up. I really love how this works, so there's never ambiguity of who should be targeted. You always know who will be targeted if ever there's that question. All right, now let's start. To start us off, we'll have Abe sneak a peek through this door. So let's go ahead and flip this encounter card and see what we find. It looks like in the room adjacent to us, we're going to have 2 frog swarms. Now remember, those frog swarms aren't actually enemies. All we have to do is a clear action to get rid of them. But if we have 2 frog swarms out at the end phase, we're going to push up that doom tracker. So we're going to need to get rid of those as soon as possible. We have a clue in the second room and a minion D in the third one. The minion D are those armed frog monsters. So you're going to see in this 4 area room, we're going to place the first items, the 2 frog swarms in this room. Then we're going to place the clue here, the minion D here. And then finally, if anything was in that 4th spot, it would be in this location. You go clockwise around from wherever you opened the door. So if we had opened the door up here, then we would have placed the 2 frog swarms here and set them up in that clockwise motion. Abe's going to go ahead and use his first action cube, and he is going to put on this armor piercing. It says, spend an action cube to flip this card and tuck it underneath a weapon that's ranged. Well, I have my sidearm here. Awesome. I can do that without spending an action when we're doing the reload action during the rest phase, but we're not going to wait that long. I want to flip this over because it does something awesome. It says whenever we do a shoot test, which is when we're going to test our shoot here, which would be 3 red dice, we'll be able to have the resistance of our target be 2 lower, but we will have to discard this should we ever run out of ammo, which means rolling a skull symbol when we test with our sidearm. Hopefully that won't happen. Also, just so that we remember that this is where the door was, we're going to place a door token here to denote that. And whenever you attack ranged in this game, you always go from center to center, and you can't have anything block line of sight, which would be anything like a wall or a closed door would block line of sight. Characters don't block line of sight, but they will affect your dice rolls when you do shoot tests.
Our next character to act is going to be Hellboy. That's right, the big man's coming out. We're going to use one of his actions to move, and when he moves, he can move up to 2 squares, and you can actually go diagonal in this game. So he's going to go 1, and these frog swarms aren't going to impede his movement. 2, right over to here. Oh, I guess we're going to do this guy. The big right hook, let me tell you about it. Here's Hellboy's card. I'm going to quickly go over a little bit about this card. Now, of course, we went over the items he has, but up here we have his stats. These are going to be the colors of dice they're going to roll when they do these type of actions. Also over here, each character has a certain amount of skills and abilities they can use. The number of cubes right here show how many they need to use in order to actually activate these. Like I said, we're going to do the big right hook, which means I can make a fight action. If you hit, the target suffers 3 additional damage and is stunned and is hurled. And I can also join this ancient blade in with that attack. It has been confirmed that this actually is able to work. Of course, he also has some special abilities over here, and if any of these come into effect, we'll talk about them. For example, one of them is he is fire resistant, of course, being Hellboy. But for right now, we're just hitting him with the big right hook.
The armed frog that Hellboy is going to take on has a total of 6 health with 2 resilience. Think of the resilience as your armor. You have to get past that 2 to even do any damage to the health. And as it was noted on his big right hook, if he does damage to this armed frog, he'll deal 3 additional damage. But let's say he gets less than or only 2 successes, he will have not dealt damage to him, so he won't be able to do the 3 additional damage, stun, and hurl. And by the way, stun means the character will be knocked on its side, and its next activation will just stand up. And hurled means he can throw it into another room and hurt other people, which is awesome. It does have a counterattack ability. If Bairnt unfortunately rolls that skull symbol like he always did when we were doing our practice play, the agent making the test will suffer 2 damage in addition to the normal effects of the skull roll. So, Bairnt, don't do that, please.
When Hellboy goes to make his attack, he's going to use 3 red dice. Now, of course, we did upgrade one of the dice, which means you're going to take a dice that's better than the one you're using. So the black is better than the red, and the black are the best dice ever. So we're really excited to roll some of these. And I get that because of my ancient blade. And of course, whenever you do a test, you have to roll the effect die. And like Colin said, that skull is terrible. We're hoping not to get that. So let's take these dice, roll them up. No skull, no skull, no skull, no skull, no skull. Yeah, no skull. All right, so what I did is 3, 4, 5, 6 successes total, which means then that other thing is going to fire off my big right hook. So it's going to suffer an additional 3 damage, meaning we have done 9 damage to it. And if you look, it only has 6 health and 2 resilience. So 9 minus 8, well, that's -1. The poor guy has nothing left. Hellboy's big right hook was way better than we were hoping. Well, actually, why would we doubt 9 damage? It kills him, but sadly, I could still hurl him, but hurling him in this room isn't going to do anything. He can't do anything to the frog swarms, and the other 2 doors are closed. So we just remove the figure from the board. Liz is going to go next, and she's going to use all 3 of her cubes. She's going to move with one of them, moving 1 square into here. And then for each other action I'm going to do with the other 2 cubes, I can remove a frog swarm for each of those actions. And we are going to do that because frog swarms in a room are just no good.
Why it's so important that Liz took care of these 2 frog swarms is actually twofold. One, for every frog swarm that's in an area that you're doing a test, it's going to make you downgrade one of your dice. So as you downgrade your dice, you're less likely to get as many successes. Also, for every set of 2 frog swarms that are out on the board during the end phase, you're going to push up the doom track by 1. And remember, that's kind of our timer in this game, so we don't want to do that. So thank you, Liz. Abe is going to go next. He has 2 action cubes left. We're going to go ahead and use 1. He can move up to 3 spaces with his regular special rules ability, but he's just going to move there for 1. Then we're going to have Johan go ahead and use 1 cube. He can move 2 spaces. He'll move 1 and he'll fall over, and 2 over here for this clue. Then what we're going to do is have Johan try and examine that clue. He's going to spend 1 action to do that, and he's going to upgrade one of his dice with this action cube, and Abe is going to assist him by using 1, so we'll be able to upgrade 2 action dice for this examine test. Johan's best stat is his examine. He gets to roll 3 red, but remember, we spent 1 of Johan's actions to power up one of his dice, and Abe was able to assist. Something that I need to note is you can only ever have 1 character assist with 1 action cube. So I couldn't have Abe spend 3 action cubes to assist me with whatever I'm doing. It's a maximum of 1 per other character assisting you. So I'm going to roll 2 black, 1 red, and the effect die. And I really hope I roll that. Holy moly. What I'm looking for is a minimum of 3 to be able to move up 1 on the information track. However, if I can get 6 or more successes, we can actually move up 2. And if I can get that wild symbol on the effect die, I can even maybe move it up 3. Come on, I want to see this thing move up. Oh no, instead I rolled the skull symbol. That's absolutely wonderful. So whenever you roll a skull symbol, you're going to cancel your highest rolled die. So you see this 3 success on that black die? Yeah, that's gone. So we got a total of 3 successes. That still means it's successful, so we're going to have to remove the clue, but we're only going to move up 1 on the information track. I mean, of all times to have this happen, at least it happened now, but of course I gave Bairnt a hard time, and I was the one to roll the skull first. We have to remove that clue from the board, and I will push up our information gathered track by 1. We have all of these markers here that we can use in the end game. We don't know what they do. I have no idea. I can't remember. I think I've only played this one time with my son, so we want to get as many of these as possible. That'll complete our agent phase. We've all used our action cubes that we wanted, so now we'll move to the rest phase. None of us needs to rest. We have no damage, so let's just keep moving. We'll go to the doom phase. During the doom phase, we'll just flip over our top doom card, and we have summoned by the swarm. That sounds terrible. Replace the frog swarm closest to the lead agent with a minion C. If there are no frog swarms on the board, place one in the lead agent's area. So that means we're going to place one in Hellboy's area. And since now we have used this target priority track for something, we're going to push Hellboy all the way to the bottom, and let's place that frog swarm in his area. And unfortunately, as I just said that, I should have read the whole card. It says, neither of these affects the order of the target priority queue. So we're just going to put Hellboy right on back where he was. Pretend I didn't do anything. So yeah, we'll place this frog swarm right back where Hellboy is. But what's great is this card doesn't push up the Doom Tracker. We'll now move to the end phase. Each of us will reclaim all 3 of our action cubes ready for the next round. The other thing that's going to happen is that frog swarm is going to move. If it's in a location with another agent, it's going to try and move into a location without one. If it can't, it'll just stay where it is. Well, those frogs definitely can move to an area without an agent. Remember, they want to try and get as many of these out as possible to push up that doom track. So that will end this first round. We would now go to the enemy phase, but thanks to Hellboy, who took out our one and only enemy, no enemies are going to activate. Let's move back to the agent phase. Bairnt's decided that he's going to go ahead and have Hellboy open up this door, and let's check out what's here. I should mention that doing an explore is a free action. That's why we're not using any cubes to do this. So we'll flip this up. Oh, we found a point of interest number 2. Remember, we have something resolved when we find the point of interest. So we have to put a point of interest 2 and a frog swarm. That's going to be in this room. Then in the other room, we'll have a minion be a frog swarm and another frog swarm. Oh my gosh. And we have a spawning site. It states here, in each end phase, place a frog swarm in the area containing the point of interest. If an agent interacts with the point of interest, it is removed. So we have to get rid of that point of interest. Otherwise, we're going to be spawning frog swarms each end phase. So that room looks really green to me. Let's go ahead and reveal our card. So we see here on our case file, when a point of interest is placed on the board, flip this card. The door swings open, revealing, you can guess what, spawn the giant frog monster in the same area as the point of interest. Put its enemy card into the in-play area. For now, its behavior deck will only contain the cards that are purple. Oh, I didn't actually know that. That's cool. These should be put into the in-play area as well. Okay, guess that was a little easier than we expected. This ain't over, but at least you got to skip to the fun part, taking on the boss. Draw and immediately resolve the top card of the behavior deck before continuing with the agent phase. Oh, he's going to activate? In each enemy phase, after all minions have acted, draw and resolve a behavior card. Damage suffered by the giant frog monster is tracked with damage markers like any other enemy. Once it's suffered 8 damage, discard this card. So we need to deal him 8 damage. Here we have our giant frog monster boss card. He moves 2, has 4 resilience. Yeah, 4 resilience, 20 health. Now remember, we only need to do 8 damage to him, and hopefully something's going to happen. His range is only 1. His range attack is 6, but his melee attack is 8. Normally, his deck of cards to activate him are these 3. However, we're only going to use the purple ones. So I've gotten the purple ones together here. I'll shuffle them up. I want you to know his effects. He's, first of all, considered a big guy. This enemy takes up the space of 3 characters in its area. So the max you can have in an area is 6. He's taking 3. He's a hard hitter. If an agent suffers 4 or more damage from this enemy's melee attack, they're also stunned, which means that you have to spend 2 action cubes to stand up on your next activation. And he's deadly. An agent who evades this enemy suffers 2 damage instead of 1. Evading means that you can move out of a room that has an enemy, and normally you take a damage for every enemy that you've moved out of a room. If you do that with the frog monster, you're actually going to take 2 damage. We have our boss deck of cards. Let's go ahead and flip this one, and we have, oh yay, summon minions. So that's what he's going to do. Spawn a minion A and a minion B in the area that is as far as possible from any agents, but no more than 1 room away from the boss. The lead agent chooses the exact area. So here we have our wonderful frog swarm area. We've got 3 frog swarms. We've got 2 rampaging frogs, a transforming frog monster, and of course we have the big guy, the giant frog monster. Fortunately, he at least didn't come and attack and knock over Hellboy, so let's see what we're going to do. While everyone else is worried about that frog swarm room, my characters are saying, screw that, we're not going in there. We're going to have Johan spend 1 of his action cubes. He's going to move into this room. Then he's going to spend his second action cube to do the clear action. And just so you know, you can only do a clear action when there are no enemies in your room. So you can't get rid of the frog swarms when there's enemies in your room. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have Abe spend 1 action cube to move into this room as well. And then he's going to use 2 action cubes to be able to do his precise strike. And Johan is going to help him with that by spending his final action cube to boost that attack. Precision shot is pretty awesome. We're going to spend 2 cubes to do that, which is what we did. We can make a shoot action, but we're going to ignore all scenery and all characters other than the target. So we're looking at that big frog monster and we're going to attack. Now remember, his resilience is 4, but I just put this onto my sidearm. My shoot actions, we can assume his resilience is 2 lower. So this means his resilience is only going to be 2 for us. We're looking to do 8 damage. You can see over here, I would normally roll 3 red dice, but because of that 1 upgrade, thanks to Johan, we're going to do 2 red, a black, and, of course, our effect die. And what I really want it to be is this times 2. I want tons of damage. 1 black, 2 red. Let's see what we can get. Okay, well, we got the reroll, which actually is good because I only have 3 hits here and 1 hit here. So this reroll means we can reroll as many of our test dice. We can't reroll this one. We can reroll as many test dice as we want. I'm going to reroll both of these. Let's see what we get. Oh, that's a lot better. So we have a total of 3, 6, 7, 8. Minus the 2 resilience, we just did 6 out of the 8 damage. Oh, we almost took him to the point where we get to flip the next card.
Hellboy's going to go next, and he's got a plan. First, he's going to go ahead and use 1 cube to go ahead and move 2 spaces, but he's only going to move 1. He's going to run right in here. Look at this guy. Toe to toe with the big man. Does he care? No. You know why? Because he's got a big right hook, and he's going to use it to hit him in his big face. Hellboy's going to go and attack with his 3 red dice. Now, he does have his Ancient Blade, which is going to upgrade one of the dice to a black die. Now, if you ever upgrade or downgrade dice, you can only do it by 1 color. So the red dice can only go up to black and down to orange. They're never going to fall to yellow. But because I have a frog swarm in there, it's going to downgrade one of my dice. So that black dice is actually going to go back to a red one. So I'm rolling 3 red and of course our effect die. Let's go for that ×2. Let's not get a skull like Colin. Yeah, we got the ×2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to ×2 that die right there, which is how it works. You pick one, and that's the one that's ×2. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to this guy. So that big right hook in his face is going to hit him and do 2 damage, along with the big right hook of 3. Now, of course, the 2 damage because he has 4 resilience. That's why 6 minus 4 comes to 2. But then the big right hook, of course, gives him 3 more, so that's 5. And of course, I get to hurl him against the wall. So the big right hook is going to hurl that guy into the next room, and there's 3 guys there. Now when I hurl him, he's going to actually do an orange damage to all the characters in this area right here. So let's see how much damage we did. 1 to each of them, which is better than nothing. Now, of course, normally he would be stunned as well, but that's not going to happen. And of course, we've done our 8 damage to him, so we're going to go ahead and flip to the next card.
We'll go ahead and discard this card. Let's see what we have. Oh, howling in pain and frustration, the beast charges through the nearest wall as though it were made of paper. Don't let it get away. The lead agent adds the following new rooms to the board, with the door marked X as close as possible to the giant frog monster's area. Deal out face-down encounter cards into each room. Wow, so we just found a whole new section of this area. Remove the giant frog monster from the board, but leave its enemy card and behavior deck in the in-play area, because you can guess we're probably going to see him again. Then let's go ahead and flip this card. We now have the giant frog monster lasting harm. Move this card to the in-play area and put 6 damage markers on it. In each end phase, remove 2 damage markers from this card. If the agents take time, remove all damage markers from this card. If the giant frog monster is set up while this card is in play, move all damage markers from this card to the boss. In effect, it's immediately suffered that much damage. So it's incentivizing us to find him as soon as possible. Discard this card when the final confrontation begins. Our next card here says when a point of interest is placed on the board, flip this card. You can better believe we know what's going to happen at that point. So it looks like our big frog dude has opened up this whole area for us to explore. I've grabbed more of those encounter cards, placed them out. My guess is we're trying to find another pink one and see if we can find him and have to fight him a second time. We've all gone except for Bairnt has Liz left. Let's see what Liz can do about those frog swarms.
Liz is all about the fire. Guess what doesn't like fire? I'm going to give you 2 guesses, and one's frogs. We're going to go ahead and use this cube to move 2 squares. 1, 2, right up here. Then we're going to use another cube to go ahead and just clear this frog swarm, because I want to go ahead and use one of her abilities that allows her to attack into this room with fire damage. So let's take a look at it, and I'll explain what we're going to do. So Liz is going to be using Flame Blast. It says right here, it's a ranged weapon. So this attack is going to inflict fire damage. That means it's going to be placing fire at the end. And it adds the living flame level, which is right here, to the test score. After the attack, reduce the living flame tracker by 1. So she's going to be using her 3 red dice that she gets from here. But since there's 2 other enemies in the room that I'm attacking, they are going to downgrade 2 of those dice to orange dice. So this is how we're going to be attacking, and of course we're going to be adding +1 because of our flame tracker. So since we're downgrading some of our dice, I decided to go ahead and go after the transforming frog monster. He only has 4 health and 1 resilience. We're going to roll our dice and of course be able to roll our effect die. Now he already has taken 1 damage thanks to Hellboy throwing the giant huge boss of doom into him against him. We're going to go ahead and throw him up, see what we get. Oh, we got a skull. Darn, I'm starting to roll like Colin. All right, so I'm going to have to take out one of these dice, which means we only did 3. He's got 1 resilience. We only did 2 damage. This guy is still alive. Oh, but we can't forget our living flame, which gives us another +1. So we've actually done 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's going to take 1 resilience away, giving us 3. He's already taken 1 damage, 4. Oh, there's so much fun in math. We have actually taken him out. Flame Blast City totally took this guy out. That's awesome. Now we are going to put an Inferno token down here. Now this Inferno token is going to damage everything at the end phase that's in this area right here. On top of that, if we ever move through a place with an Inferno, we are going to take damage.
We've all used all 3 of our action cubes. We now have to move to the Doom phase. We're going to skip the rest phase because there are enemies on the board, so we literally can't rest. So we'll flip this card up, and we have From the Shadows. Advance the impending Doom track. Use target priority to choose an agent, then spawn a minion A in that agent's area. Seriously? Well, that means right where Hellboy is, a transforming frog monster is going to show up, and then we're going to change the targeting to no longer have Hellboy on top. It'll be Liz on top. So, you know, they took out 1 of those transforming frog monsters, and another one's going to show up right in his area. We'll move 1 up on the impending Doom track. Now we're going to move to the end phase. During the end phase, you're first going to resolve your Infernos, then you're going to resolve your Frog Swarms. What's nice about Infernos burn up Frog Swarms. So both of these Frog Swarms are removed, which means we don't have to worry about increasing the impending Doom track because we have Frog Swarms out on the board. Also, this Inferno, we're going to roll a red die. On a roll of 1, 2, or 3, these enemies are going to suffer that amount of damage. If we roll a 3, also, this is going to expand to an adjacent room. And it's only if the door is open. So this one, the door is closed. It's not going to go into the other room over here. If we roll a 0, this thing's going to burn itself out, and we'll remove it from the board. Let's roll our red die up. We've got a 1. So we're just going to deal 1 damage to each one of those rampaging frog monsters, but the Inferno is not going to expand, and it's not going to be removed. Now we're going to move to the enemy phase. The first thing we're going to do is activate that transforming frog monster. The transforming frog monster wants to run away. It's cowardly. So what we have to do is roll a yellow die. If we roll a 1, and we didn't. Perfect. That actually means what he's going to do is he's just going to run away as far as he can away from our agents. Now, from how I understand it, enemy activations, if they move in and out of locations with fire, they don't have to worry about it. With agents, though, if we move out of an area with a fire or an Inferno, we take 2 damage. However, these 2 rampaging frog monsters now are going to move into this room, and they're going to attack each of these agents. Using our priority track, the first one is going to attack Liz, and then we'll push Liz to the bottom of the track, and the second one is going to attack Hellboy, so then we'll push Hellboy back to the bottom of the track. So we'll push Liz back like so, and then we would have, because it's only between these two would just swap spots.
So here's our rampaging frog monster. He's going to attack with a melee of 5. So now I'm going to use my defense against it. Liz is going to be attacked first. She has 3 defense, or 3 orange dice for her defense. Now the way you're supposed to activate him is 1 monster at a time. For recording purposes, we just moved them all at the same time, but one is going to attack her, and since there's no other monsters at the point of this person's attack against Liz, she doesn't have to downgrade any dice. So we're going to roll the 3 dice and this, and if I get a skull, bad things are going to happen. When testing defense against this enemy's attacks, the target agent discards an action cube in addition to the normal effects. Of course, if I roll this, we don't want to roll that. No skulls. We're just going to go ahead and see if we can stop 5 damage. We got 1, 2, and I can re-roll any die. I'm probably just going to re-roll this one because at least some pips is better than no pips. And look, we got all pips. So that's 3. So I'm actually only going to take 2 damage. So the way you take damage in the game is you randomly take these blood tokens and you place them in the slots on your character card. Now once those fill up, you're going to be flipping these over and they're going to cause detriments to some of your testing rolls. So right now Liz has 2 of these, and on top of that, she's also going to move up her living flame. She has a special rule called volatile. Advance the living flame tracker when Liz suffers any damage from any attack or other source. If it advances the red space, advance it a second time. So as you can see, her living flame is down here, so I'm just going to move it up 1 since it's still in the white. And we're going to be able to add +1 to any tests if we have to use the living flame as part of the test. Hellboy, of course, is being attacked by the second monster, and like I said before, we're just going to downgrade one of them because now that monster is in there. And of course, we're going to roll our effect die without a skull. That's going to be our plan. Let's see how we do. We got a 2, 3, 4 successes, and we have a wild symbol, which means we can turn this to anything we want. I think we want to turn it to the skull. No, I lied. We're going to go to plot times 2, so we can do a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to our defense. We're going to take no damage from this rampaging frog monster. Besides, it's Hellboy. He doesn't take any damage.
Before we move into that agent phase, unfortunately, we forgot one thing. We're not going to go back. We're just going to keep moving forward. We should have spawned a frog swarm here. That would have affected Bairnt's defense rolls. We'll deal with it. So we cheated. That's all right. What we're going to do for this round, we're going to start off with Abe. Abe's going to move over here. He's going to take 2 of his actions and do a precise strike again. That means he can ignore terrain, all other characters. He's going to shoot this guy. He's got -2 to his armor, so he has no armor. We just need to deal 4 points of damage to take him out. We're going to roll 3 red dice and our effect die. Let's roll up our dice, and 2, 4, 6. I don't need to re-roll anything. Totally dead. Now we're going to do a fun little combo with Johan here. It says here we're going to possess. We're going to spend 2 out of our 3 action cubes to do this. Use this action when a minion is defeated. Reduce the ectoplasmic stability tracker by 3. It's a little bit bad, but we'll deal with it. So our ectoplasmic tracker right now is at full. We'll go down by 3. But then what it says here, we can move the defeated minion up to 2 areas and make a ranged or melee attack with it before it is removed from play. So Bairnt may hurl enemies. I actually take control of them. How cool is that? So much cooler. I'm going to take this guy, bring him over here, and he's going to do his 5 damage to this transforming frog monster. And if I can do it, there you go, kill him. And then he's going to die too. So they're both gone, which is beautiful.
Hellboy's going to go next, and instead of doing his big right hook, this time he's just going to do his big left hook and use one of these cubes, which really isn't a power. I'm just making it up. He's just going to attack him normally with a melee attack. Hellboy's going to go ahead, roll 3 red dice and his effect die, because of course he gets a black die, but it's being downgraded because of that frog swarm. And he was able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which probably should be enough to take that guy out. Let's go ahead and take a look at his defense. Sadly, that attack only brought him down to 1 health. He had enough resilience to be able to soak up most of the wounds, so he's down to 1 health. I'm going to just have to go ahead and hit him again. We were hoping to save that for something else, but we have to take out these guys. I did a total of 2. Which with his resilience means I did nothing. Oh, never doubt the big right hook. I should have just done that. So again, we're going to have to spend his last action cube to try to attack and kill this thing. I think this is our best bet. Let's see how it goes. All right, this time we did it. Oh my gosh, now we totally overkilled this guy. We got 6. But of course we subtract 2, so he takes a 4 damage, or this guy's just gone. So we finally were able to take this guy out with a 1, 2, 3 punch, I guess, and should have used the big right hook. All right, we're going to get rid of that guy. Then we're also going to spend all our actions with Liz. Liz is next. She's got 3. Let's see what we can do. I think the first one, we're going to get rid of this frog. The second one, we're going to get rid of this, so no more frogs show up. And then she's going to move over here. And it's okay because she is immune to fire. She's fireproof. She's never going to take damage from fire. So it's totally fine to be standing in that square. Those are her 3 actions. Now, of course, Colin still has a couple left.
And I think the easiest thing for me is just to have both of my characters, they each have 1 cube left, to move and hang out with Hellboy. They don't really want to deal with that fire unless they have to. We've completed our agent phase. We could rest, but I still don't think it's worth resting at this point, so we're just going to move to the Doom phase. Let's go ahead and flip our card. We have Haunted by an Unknown Past. Put this card into play next to Abe's agent board. Abe receives 1 fewer action cube in the refresh step of each end phase. Oh, discard this card when Abe suffers damage or when the agents take time. So that means he'll only get 2 action cubes until we get rid of this. There's one other item we forgot to do last end phase, and that was to remove 2 damage from this card. So I'm actually going to, during this end phase, remove 4 damage. So there's only 2 damage left on this card. So if we do find the big giant frog monster, he's only going to have 2 damage on him instead of the 6. Also, during the end phase, we need to roll for that 1 Inferno, and we get a 2, which would mean technically Liz would take 2 damage, but she is fire immune, so she laughs at that Inferno. We didn't roll a 3, so it doesn't spread. Now we also all get our action cubes back, except for Abe. He's only going to get 2. Bummer. We'll move into that enemy phase. There's no enemies on the board, so let's now move to the agents phase. And Liz is going to go ahead and peek through this door as a free action. Let's see what she finds. Oh, she found another spawning site. This is our second one. We're going to have a frog swarm and minion A in this spot, plus the point of interest 1, and then a frog swarm over here, another frog swarm and minion A. And then, of course, this is that spawning site again, and that means we're going to have to draw our next card. We've spawned everything on the board, and now let's go ahead and read our case card. Let's flip our case card and see what we have. There it is! Spawn the giant frog monster in the same area as the point of interest. Find the behavior cards with the yellow icon and shuffle them into the behavior deck. So we're going to have both those and the purple ones. It looks like you've cornered the massive creature, or maybe it's drawn you into an ambush. All things considered, does it really make a difference? I don't think so. And we're going to have to now draw and immediately resolve the top card of the behavior deck before continuing with the agent phase. In each enemy phase, after all minions have acted, draw and resolve a behavior card. Damage suffered from the giant monster is tracked just like before. When it suffered 12 damage, we're going to discard this card. And remember, he already has 2 damage thanks to that card that we had from before. So we just need to deal him 10 more damage. Let's see what the big guy's going to do. We'll draw our top card, and we have the reshuffle card. Okay, let me reshuffle quick. Let's go ahead and flip his boss card, and we have Seize Agent. Agents in boss area? No. Otherwise, discard this card and draw another. Oh boy, so we have to discard this because no one is in its area. Let's go ahead and flip our next one, and we have Attack. Agent in boss's area? No. Otherwise, the boss moves towards the nearest area that contains an agent. Its exact path is chosen by us. If it moves into an area containing an agent, it stops and makes a melee attack. We can see here his melee attack is 8. Ouch. And don't forget, an agent who takes 4 or more damage is going to be stunned when he is attacked by the giant frog monster. So this big guy is going to go ahead and just move into this room with Liz and attack her for 8 damage. And now Bairnt gets to decide, what does he want to do to defend? Is he just going to roll 3 orange dice, or is he going to do something more?
Liz gets to roll 3 orange dice, but I'm really afraid she's going to take that damage. So we are actually going to use 2 of our action cubes to upgrade 2 of our dice to red dice. So that means we're going to be rolling 2 red and orange, and of course our effect die. Let's see how this goes for Liz. We really hope she can withstand this hit. Come on, Liz, power through. Oh, that's going to be okay, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which means she only is going to take 3 damage, so she's not going to be stunned. We are going to be able to use the last cube to hopefully do something later in her turn. And of course, she didn't take enough to really hurt herself too bad. The other thing we do get to do is, since she did take damage, we are going to move this up again. So she's actually doing +2 if she uses any of her Flame Blast abilities or anything else that uses this track. And that's not too bad for what could have happened. So again, I've randomly chosen some of our tokens out of here, and notice that I'm filling up these squares and she has no more squares. If she takes more damage, I'm gonna have to flip these over. For example, we've randomly taken one of these, and when you do flip it over, it's gonna subtract from one of the things. So now, for example, if this would have been in one of these areas and I've done a melee attack, I would have had to downgrade one of these dice because of the damage I've taken.
Abe just saw Liz get hammered by that big frog. He's not so happy. He's going to go ahead and spend his only 2 action cubes. Gosh, that haunted by unknown past happened at the wrong time. So he's going to use 2 of those to do his precise strike. That means, once again, 2 resilience instead of the 4, and we can ignore Liz, who's in there, who normally would downgrade our dice for that shoot attack. And then we're going to have Johan spend 1 of his action cubes to help upgrade Abe's attack. So he's going to roll 1 black and 2 red. We need some luck here so poor Liz doesn't get hammered again by that frog. And I rolled a 4, a 3, and a 2. That is a ridiculous roll. So I could use this to get an action cube back, but I think instead I'm going to use that wild as a ×2. That's going to be 8 damage, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage. He only has 2 resilience on this attack, so that's -2. So that's a total of 11 total damage, you guys. 11 damage plus the 2 that we already have on him. We just took him out with that roll. So Johan and Abe rocked it. Well, that was slightly unexpected, you guys. So we get to discard this card because we've dealt 12 damage. Before you can land the killing blow, the frog monster lunges at the floor, splintering floorboards as it crashes into the basement. Who built this place? What the heck did they build it out of? Forget the BRPD. Maybe you should pull out and call the OSHA. Put 8 damage markers on the giant frog monster, lasting harm card, just like we had before. Remove the frog monster from the board, but leave its enemy card and behavior deck just like before. Put a destruction counter in the area that it left, so we're going to have to place a destruction counter in the spot where Liz is. The agents can leap down to follow the giant frog monsters if they are all in the same room as the destruction counter in the agent's phase of any round, but it doesn't look like there's any way back up. Ooh, when they do, flip this card. Let's go ahead and place that destruction marker right here. He literally dropped down underneath us. I want to know where he is. Now, we almost could just all go down there right now, except for Abe has to. He's already used his 3 action cubes because he only got 1 back. So we're going to have to last around up here before we jump down and follow that giant frog monster. After seeing Abe take that amazing precise strike, Johan has decided that he wants to take a shot. So he's going to spend his remaining 2 action cubes, 1 to do the shoot action and 1 to power it up, to try and attack this transforming frog monster here. But because he's attacking from here and Liz is in this space, he has to downgrade 1 die because of that. So he'll downgrade 1 and then power it back up. His attack is 3 orange dice. 3 orange dice and the effect die. Let's see how we do. Oh, wow. That's 2, 3. Oh, beautiful. Let's use this as a ×2. 2, 4, plus 1 is 5. We just took out that transforming frog monster. Taking out that transforming frog monster. Perfect. Now it's Bairnt's turn.
Liz has been waiting for this exact moment. She has 1 cube left to fire her Flame Blast, which is going to go ahead and put another Inferno token right in here, along with all the other stuff that's there. And she's going to fire right over here, take out hopefully these frog swarms, but of course the attack is going on this character right here. So I get to use 3 red dice and my effect die to go ahead and attack this guy with our Flame Blast. Let's see how this goes. We went ahead and rolled and got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This guy is so toast. Now, of course, I also get to add the 2 from the Flame Blast or Living Flame card. So this is a fried froggy. We're going to go ahead and drop this down 1 because after you use Flame Blast with the Living Flame tracker, I have to go ahead and reduce it by 1. The only character left is Hellboy, and sadly with this guy dead, Hellboy's looking around with nothing to do. I guess they were all not impressed with his fighting prowess last time, so we're going to go ahead and just move him around and do some stuff. We're going to go ahead and spend 1 action cube to move, and that's going to move him 2 squares. Now if you ever move over one of these, you have to spend another action cube or take a damage, and I'm just going to go ahead and use the 2nd action cube. And with my 3rd one, we're going to get rid of this point of interest so that we don't have to worry about any more frog swarms spawning on the board. Hellboy, I guess, batted cleanup this time.
That'll end the agent phase. We're definitely not going to rest. We're doing great. Let's go ahead and flip our Doom card. Oh, hey, it's just going to advance the impending Doom track. We're going to move up to the 3rd spot here. We're also going to remove 2 of the damage on this card. So if we do find the giant frog, he's going to have a total of 6 damage now. During the end phase, both of these frog swarms are going to be destroyed. This one is going to try and move out of Hellboy's area, so he's going to move over here. And then we're going to have to roll for both of these to see these 2 infernos to see if they are going to burn themselves out or spread. Because remember, this inferno is not going to do any damage to Liz because she's fireproof, and this one, there's no one in that space. We'll roll for the one in Liz's area first, and we get a 2, so it's just going to stay there. The one next to Hellboy, we'll roll that one up. It's also a 2. It's just going to stay there. All right, that's going to end our end phase. We're all going to grab our action cubes. Unfortunately, Abe is only going to have 2. Let's start that next round.
One thing we forgot to do is Hellboy should have taken 2 damage when he passed through this Inferno token. Though he is fire resistant, so Hellboy never suffers more than 1 fire damage from a single attack. So I'm going to go ahead and place one of these random tokens onto his track of health. He's doing just fine. We're just going to keep on going now.
So now moving into the agent phase, we're each going to take 2 action cubes and move into this area. And then, with that, because we're all here, let's go ahead and jump down. Let's see what we can find, Bairnt. Since we jumped down the hole, let's flip this card. Barely taking a moment to consider your own safety, you leap down through the splintered floorboards in pursuit of your quarry. This is a good idea, right? Clear away the game board, then set up the following room tiles. Set up each agent in the new starting area and deal a face-down encounter card into each other room. Cool. So we're going to have, this is going to be our board now. When the last room is explored, flip this card. Okay, so we're going to have to explore to the final room, and then we'll find out what's going to happen next.
Liz has 3 action cubes, so she was standing in the space that we had to jump down. So I'm going to have Hellboy bravely open that door.
And what do we find in this room? But, oh, more frog swarms. A frog swarm and another frog swarm in Minion C in this room. And then we have a frog swarm minion A here and a point of interest. And of course we have this being our spawning site.
Hellboy showed us a lot of neat things. Liz is going to go ahead and try to see how many things she can take out. She's going to use her Flame Blast with one of her action cubes, and Hellboy's going to assist her with one of his cubes as well. Then she's also going to help herself with another cube. So we're going to be able to add +2, or actually upgrade 2 of our dice when we go and make our first attack against this minion.
Our venomous frog here has a total of 2 resilience and 6 health.
This venomous frog is going to get hit by Liz. And like I said, we're going to be upgrading with Hellboy and with herself, giving me 2 black dice, a red die, and we're of course going to roll our effect die. Let's see if we can take out this venomous frog. We of course cannot take it out because I'm a magic skull roller, which is going to remove this 3, leaving us with only 3 attack, and he has 2 resilience. So at least we did 1 damage. Now I also do get my Living Flame card, and right now our tracker is here, so I do get +1, so we actually did 2 damage to this thing, and I have to drop it down to here when we make our second attack. And our second attack, I might as well, I think we're going to shoot another guy. We're going to put an Inferno token in this square, and of course we've done 2 damage, and now we're going to go ahead and make another attack. We're again going to do that Flame Blast with one of my tokens, and Colin's going to go ahead and generously help me out with his character as well, being able to upgrade a die, because we're going to have to downgrade firing through this mess, but we are going to be able to put down another token after the action resolves. We're going to be rolling 3 red dice. I'm downgraded, but then of course Colin helped me up, so I'm upgrading back up to 3 red, and our effect die. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's only got 5 resilience. What I'm going to do with that wild symbol is I'm going to go ahead and focus. Liz has a power that allows me, when using Flame Blast, to spend the wild result to move the Living Flame marker cube to any space before resolving the attack. I've decided that we're going to go ahead, take our Living Flame token, and put it right here. Then we're going to go ahead and move it down 1 after resolving our Flame Blast. Now the next time we go ahead and use it, we're going to be getting +2. So this guy got really, really cooked.
Thanks to Bairnt, this guy is toast, but unfortunately we've all spent our action cubes. Let's go ahead and move. We have to skip that rest phase. Let's go to the Doom phase. We'll draw that top Doom card, and we have Carelessness Causes Fire. Well, that does seem pretty thematic. Advance the impending Doom track. Then use target priority to choose an agent. Put an Inferno in that agent's area. Oh, that's going to be for everyone. If that area already contains an Inferno, that chosen agent suffers 1 damage instead. We're going to be placing that Inferno right where we all are. That's going to target Abe, though, so I'll move Abe down to the bottom, and now Johann is up on top. We'll also move up 1 on the impending Doom track. We'll then go ahead and move to the end phase. We will remove 2 damage on this card, so this frog monster will come in now with only 4 damage. We're going to resolve these Infernos, and they're going to destroy all of these frog swarms. But then this one will bring out a new frog swarm that we'll have to deal with later. We are then, unfortunately, going to have to resolve each of these Infernos as well, rolling a red die. So we'll start here, then we'll move to this location, and then this location. We'll roll that die for our space, and we get a 2. So everyone's going to take 2 damage. However, Liz is immune to fire damage, so she takes none. Hellboy will only take 1 because he's fire resistant. However, both of my characters will take 2 damage. Neither of them had any damage, so they'll take damage just like this, face down, like so. And then the nice thing is, I'm actually happy for Abe, because Abe will then discard this Haunted by the Unknown Past because he took a damage. So that means he'll recover all 3 of his action cubes. Now we'll do the second space. Let's see what we get. We get a 1, so that Venomous Frog will take 1 point of damage. And then the third one gets a 1. I don't even think there's anything there. So, yep, if we had gotten a 0, it would have burnt itself out. But no, all the Infernos are still kicking. Finally, we've all reclaimed our action cubes. We now all have 3. This Venomous Frog now in the enemy phase will attack us. He attacks range, and using target priority, he's going to attack Johann. We'll then update target priority, so the next one to be targeted, if we have an option, will be Liz. Johann is being attacked for 5 damage. Let's see what he gets for defense. He rolls orange dice. Oh, 2, 4, 6. Ha! That didn't touch him at all.
At the beginning of our agent phase, I'm going to have Hellboy go ahead and use his Deep Pockets. It's one of his starting cards. I can flip this card during the agent phase to draw from the bottom of the requisition deck until you find one of the cards with any of those symbols on them. I get to keep it and return any others to the deck. So we're going to go ahead and take our requisition deck here, and I'm going to draw the bottom cards until we find one. Oh, we found one right away. We have found a Warding Talisman. If you roll a skull when making a test, re-roll the effect die, use the new result. If the new result is also a skull, discard this card. This is like built for me. This is going to be awesome. All right, that's going to go to Hellboy. And why not? We're going to flip the card, and on the back side it says discard this card during the agent phase to draw from the bottom of the requisition deck again. If it's one of those symbols, I get to keep it. Otherwise, I have to return it. So the first one you kind of keep on drawing, but this one you only get to draw one time and see what it is. We found a double bullet. That's one of the things too. Armor-piercing ammo.
Now, I just want to mention that right now, Abe actually has that on his weapon. So that's the reducing the resilience by 2. So, Bairnt, if you flip the card over, you'll see on the other side, it states when you do the shoot action, the enemy is assumed to have 2 less resilience. However, we have to remember that Hellboy's pistol only has 1 bullet. So if you put that on him, you're going to shoot 1 time and then that's going to be gone, because that's just how his pistol works. Since there's been pretty much nothing to examine this entire blasted game, Johann is going to spend 1 of his action cubes and he's going to do the clear action. He's going to get rid of that Inferno, so that way any of the other heroes can move out of this space and not take damage from fire.
Hellboy's going to go next. He's going to use 1 cube to move, and he's not going to take any damage moving into a place in the Inferno, only if you move out. So he is going to move up 1 space, and then use the other 2 to do the big right hook. We've already learned from past examples that not doing the big right hook is a bad idea. Hellboy's going to go ahead and get 3 red dice. He does have his Ancient Blade being able to upgrade one of his dice, but we do have to downgrade because of that Inferno token. And then I get my cursed die. So we're going to go ahead and roll these up and see what happens. Oh, it's not cursed, it's a magic die. I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1.5 million. This guy is totally gone.
Thanks to Hellboy, this guy is toast. So now we have no enemies on the board. We just need to take care of this spot so we don't have to deal with more frog swarms and then open that final room. So I'm going to go ahead and have Johan use his final 2 actions to take 1 step into here and clear this inferno. Then I'll go ahead and have Abe. He'll spend 1 action cube to move into here, a 2nd action cube to get rid of this frog swarm, and his 3rd action cube to get rid of this inferno.
And since everybody's doing actions like that, Liz decided to join the party. She's going to use 1 action cube to move over here, and her 2nd one is just to be able to clear this token.
We've now completed the agent phase, and we are going to do our first rest phase. You can only do a rest phase if there are no enemies on the board. Then each agent can pick one of the rest actions. We can either investigate, which would discard a clue and move up on the information gathered track while there are no clues. We can recuperate by rolling 2 red dice and heal that equal to whatever we roll. Or we can secure, remove all frog swarms and infernos from any room. We already took care of that. Agents can also trade freely any items that have those symbols, those 2 arrow symbols on them. I think we're all good there. Then we'll reset target priority, but of course we do have to advance the impending doom. Resetting target priority, we'll just put Hellboy up top, Liz is 2nd. Then we have, oh no, I have this right. We have Abe next, and then Johan at the back. And just because I'm over here, the impending doom will get pushed up 1 as well. Johan's ectoplasmic stability will actually get pushed all the way back up to the top. It says whenever the agents take time, you can reset that tracker. Now what he's going to do, because he does have 2 points of damage, he's going to roll 2 red dice and see if he can heal him. We're looking for 2 successes here, and we got 3, so he's fully healed and ready to rock. Abe here has rapid healing. Whenever the agents take time, he automatically heals 2 damage, which is awesome. There isn't anything else that he can do. He can't secure, he can't do investigating, so that's all he's going to do.
Liz doesn't have anything going on during the rest phase, but she is going to heal. I'm going to roll my 2 red dice and see how we do. I was able to heal 2. So I'll go ahead and remove 2 of these tiles from her board. Hellboy is also going to go ahead and try to heal. He was able to heal himself. Well, why didn't Liz roll a 6? That'd been really good. But he's going to heal his 2 damage that he has. And he's also going to go ahead and equip his armor-piercing ammo loaded.
No rest for the weary. We're going to go ahead and draw our next Doom card, and we have Noises Up Ahead. Advance the impending Doom track, then put this card in play. The next time a room is explored, spawn an additional minion C in the area closest to the door, then discard this card. Wonderful. Oh, and you know what? Also, because we rested, I'm still glad we did it, but all this damage we have on here gets removed whenever we rest. We spent too long trying to get him, so he's going to come out when that frog, the big man, comes out. He's going to come out fully healed. And pushing up that impending doom track 1 more space, we're actually 1 away from actually getting pushed into the final part of the game, I think. Sometimes that's not what happens when you see that, but that's my guess. Okay, no enemies on the board, so we'll skip the enemy phase. We'll move right to the agent phase. And of course, I should have said during the end phase, we all recovered all of our action cubes. Let's go ahead and open that door. Abe will go ahead and sneak a peek through this door. Remember, that's a free action. We're going to find a minion C in room 1 plus another minion C because this noise is up ahead. So 2 minion Cs, a minion D, a clue finally, not that that's probably going to matter, and then a scenery level 1 in this room. Here's our room. Doesn't look too terrible. However, we're now going to have to flip that case card. Let's go ahead and see what's on the other side of this card. The whole basement is damp, but the room takes the cake. It's half submerged, more a swamp than a cellar. Frogs perched on every surface, their beady eyes regarding you, and the water teems with life. In the midst of it all stands the beast you've been chasing. It's hurt, but it's not going to go down without a heck of a fight. Set up the giant frog monster in area 3 of the room. The agent phase ends immediately. Oh wow, skip to the end phase, then discard this card. AKA, we're going to immediately have to have all the enemies activate. That's all the minions and the boss. All this is going to be fun. This is the final confrontation. Set it up as described on page 26 of the rulebook. For each insight marker that is removed from the information gathered track, which PS is every single one of them, there is 5, set up a minion A in the giant frog monster's area, or as close as possible if there is no room. The boss for this confrontation is of course the giant frog monster. It'll now use its full behavior deck, shuffling any previously discarded cards. If the giant frog monster has suffered any damage, record this on the confrontation track and remove the damage markers next to the boss. In each end phase, phase, each enemy with frog tag heals 1 damage for each frog swarm on the board. At least we got rid of all the blasted frog swarms. Thank goodness. But this, you guys, is brutal. We're going to have 5 minion A's in the same room or next to the giant frog monster. Well, there's nothing like being swarmed by a pack of frogs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 transforming frogs here, 1 over here. We have an armored frog here, and 2 of the venomous frogs here. Not to mention, of course, the big man right in the center. So, unfortunately, since we had to push ourselves all the way to the end phase, we'll go back to the enemy phase. The enemies are going to activate first. Let's go ahead and activate all the transforming frogs. Maybe none of them will transform. Yeah, right. So both of these frogs would try and run away, but they can't. That's as far as they can go. So they're going to stay there. I'll roll the yellow dice for those 2 first, followed by those 3. If any of them get a success, they're going to turn into a rampaging frog and then rampage and attack us. We'll roll the 2 yellow dice first, and let's see. Oh my gosh, neither of them changed. Okay, then we're going to roll 3, and that's for the location that's also with the big frog boss, and only one's going to change into a rampaging frog monster. That's beautiful. So only one of these red-pantsed transforming frog monsters will turn into a rampaging frog monster. And he, of course, can move 2, so he's going to go 1, 2, jump into the same space as Liz, and attack Liz for a total of 5 damage.
Liz is going to roll up her defense. Let's see how it goes. Oh my gosh, she rolled like a champ.
I forgot to show you the reason why it was Liz is because in that room it was tied between Liz and Abe. So Liz will go to the back now, and that means Abe's going to get attacked for the next enemy activation. We're going to activate the 2 venomous frogs now. So one will attack Abe, and then the other one will go ahead and attack Liz. And because now there's an enemy in our space, we are going to have to downgrade 1 die. So unfortunately, Abe's defense is only yellow dice. Why didn't I notice that? So I'm going to spend 1 of my action cubes so that I get a total of 3 yellow dice. Otherwise, I'd only be rolling 2 yellow dice and the effect die. I really need something good. Come on, give me lots of 1s. Oh, okay, well, I can double that 1. Or you know what? I'm going to change that to 2. So I defended for 3. That means I only took 2 points of damage. I'll take that. He has no damage now, so he'll just take 2 of these random tokens.
Liz with her downgraded die is rolling 2 orange and a yellow and the effect die. Oh my gosh, she did not champ at that time. That was what we call a non-champ or a barf roll. And with the actual skull on that die, I'm going to get paralyzing tongue if things weren't bad enough. If I roll that when testing defense against this enemy's attacks, the target agent discards an action cube in addition to the normal effect of that die. And since I didn't block anything, I'm taking 5 damage and I'm losing 1 of my action cubes. Oh, barf. Liz is going to take 5 damage. 1, 2 unknown cubes, but then I still have to take 3 more damage. So now we start flipping them from this side. 1, 2, 3. All right, so good, bad. It's against her actual physical attack, so I'm not too worried about that because we've been doing a lot of ranged attacks with her. Now, also, I have to take advantage of volatile. It says advance the living flame tracker whenever Liz suffers any damage from an attack or other source. So I'm going to advance it up 1. And now it says down here, if it advances to a red space, advance it a 2nd time. Oh, we don't want it to get to the top or she might actually blow up. And these are actually affecting my melee attacks, but this one, like it shows up here, is going to be downgrading 1 of my ranged dice.
Next to go is our armored frog monster over here. Yes, we are still activating enemies. This armored frog is going to activate and move 2 spaces, 1, 2. He's going to go ahead and attack Abe. Since there's one other enemy here, Abe will once again have to downgrade 1 of his dice. So he'll only roll 2 dice. This guy's attacking for 7 damage. Oh my gosh. Yeah. A 7 damage attack reduced by 1, 2, 3. So we're taking only 4 damage. With 4 damage, he'll take 3 of them, like so, and then he'll have to flip 1 as an injury, and that's going to decrease his searching. That's great, because we're not going to be searching for anything. Finally, we will activate the boss. Are you guys ready for this? This boss, if it targets anyone, it's probably going to target Liz, which is really bad because she only has 2 health left. Let's see, we have an attack. Agent in boss's area? No. Otherwise, the boss moves towards the nearest area that contains any agents. Its exact path is chosen by the lead agent. If it moves into an area containing an agent, it stops and makes a melee attack. So yes, it is going to attack Liz. We'll move this down like so, and let's see what happens. So this boss is going to move a total of 2 spaces, 1, 2, into here. We're going to go ahead and have to push one of these minions. We'll push him out to here. So that way we have enough room because he takes up 3 and we've got 3 more in this same space. So that's a total of 6. And as you can see him tower over Liz, he's going to attack Liz on the head, probably with his tongue. Let's see what happens. Abe's going to try and help with the defense here. He can spend 1 cube. So he's going to spend 1. He only has 1 remaining. That's going to allow Liz to roll 3 orange and 1 effect die.
Let's see if that helps us out. We got a total of 3. And that's just not going to do it for poor old Liz. She's going to take 5 damage. Guess how much she can take before she goes out? Yep, you counted 2. So 2 damage. She's going to flip those over. Now she has to take 3 more. She can't. She's out. Unless we do some kind of bizarre mathematics, she's dead.
If Liz had died during the first part of the game, she would be able to potentially come back. However, we're now in the final boss fight, so she's out for the rest of the game. Abe only has 1 action cube left. He's going to go ahead and use it as the strong arm. He's going to hurl an enemy from Abe's area. Now, it's not going to stun like the right hook, but he is going to throw this rampaging frog into this room. So we'll put him in there, and we're going to grab 1 orange die and give it a roll. 2, oh, you can't see it. 2 damage. We just dealt 2 damage to all the other enemies in this room. Beautiful.
Hellboy's going to go ahead and take a ranged attack shot against the boss. And I'm just going to go for broke. We're going to use all 3 of my action cubes, and Johan is going to help us out as well. So we're going to be upgrading some dice. We do have to downgrade it 1 because there is 1 character in this area. We're taking a shot with Hellboy's pistol. And of course, he's got his armor-piercing rounds in there. So let's see how this goes. We fire it up here, and we got a total of 1, 2, 3. And that wild symbol we can turn into anything we want. We're going to make it a ×2, giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total. He has only a 2 resilience, so we did 3 damage. But of course, his gun gives us an extra 5 damage as long as we're able to hit that target, bringing the actual damage total to 8. So we did a pretty good knock on that guy. After the attack, we do have to flip this card, and I'm going to lose my armor-piercing rounds. Now it says it's out of ammo. 1 time, 1 shot. Reload this weapon. Flip the card by spending an action cube or for free when the agents take a time.
Johan still has 2 action cubes left, so he's going to go ahead and move into this space with wonderful Abe. He's then going to use his field dressings. We'll flip it over. He has to spend that final action cube, and he can heal 2 damage of Abe's. So Abe will take 1 of the damage tokens that he had flipped face up. That's an injury. He'll flip it face down, and he'll remove 1 of the damage tokens that he has. Woohoo! You know that's coming right back soon. We'll now move to the end phase. We'll all recover our 3 action cubes, except for Liz, of course. And then we'll go ahead and start that next round. We'll start with our enemies. The nice thing is, we have a total here of 5 units. So 1 enemy can get into the space, but that's it. So, of course, these 2 guys attack range, but then that means only 1 other character or enemy will go in here. So let's go ahead and start doing the transforming frogs. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. It doesn't really matter which ones are which. I'm just going to roll 4 yellow dice, and we'll see which ones turn into rampaging frogs. So let's roll them up. Okay, 2 turn into rampaging frogs. So these 2 over here will go ahead and change into these 2 rampaging frogs. One's going to move into this room and then move into here because he can. The other one is going to stare menacingly at us right here. This then rampaging frog is going to attack Johan. We'll move Johan down to the bottom of the tracker, and of course I should have removed Liz here at this point because there's only 3 of us, and they're going to be dancing back and forth. We normally roll 3 orange dice, but we have to downgrade 1 due to 1 other enemy in our room, so 2 orange and 1 yellow. Let's see what we get. We have a total of 3 defense. We'll just take 2 damage. I'll take that. Next, the venomous frogs are going to attack us. The advantage that we have for Johan and for Abe is because there are other characters in this, 3 other characters in this room, we're going to upgrade our defense dice by 3 for each of them. So the first one's going to attack Abe, and the second one will then attack Johan. Abe normally rolls yellow dice for defense, but he'll get to roll 3 orange dice. And that's a skull, which is terrible. That's going to mean he takes 5 damage as well as he loses 1 of his action cubes. Great. Abe will take 1 damage here, then 2, 3, 4, and 5. He has 1 health remaining. Johan at least gets to roll 3 red dice. Let's see how he does. Oh yeah, 2, 4, 5, 6. No damage for Johan. Now let's go ahead and activate the boss. Let's see what that giant frog's going to do. And of course, you know, if he has to target anyone, he's going to target Abe. We'll flip these back over. Oh, come on. We have throw agent. Oh, great. All right. Agent in the boss's area. The boss hurls an agent in its area. Use target priority if necessary. So that's going to target Abe, which is why I flipped it. This must be into an area containing other agents if possible. The hurled agent and each agent in the area they are hurled into is stunned. So we're going to stun Hellboy as well as stun Abe. The nice thing is Abe is still going to be alive. Abe is going to get picked up, thrown into this room, hits poor Hellboy. Hellboy's going to take damage equal to an orange die, so we'll go ahead and roll that, and I rolled a 2 over here. So he's going to take his first 2 points of damage, and they're both stunned, so they're both knocked over. That means they're going to have to take 2 action cubes to stand up. Guess what? Abe only has 2 action cubes, so you know he's not going to be doing anything next round. So that's going to end the enemy phase, though. Moving into the agent phase, we will have, the only thing you can do when you're stunned is use the 2 action cubes to stand back up. So that's all Abe's going to do. Hellboy's going to have to spend 2 action cubes to stand up. And Hellboy's decided for his third action, he might as well ready his pistol, because it's not like he really wants to move into this area. At this point, we might be saying sayonara to Johann. Johann is a little bit out of options. He does have 3 cubes. He could try and evade, but we're kind of feeling like Johann is doing his final stand here. What he's going to do is he's going to spend 1 action to do his fight. And by the way, his fight is yellow. He has another enemy in his space. He's targeting, of course, the boss. So he would normally just get 2 yellow dice. So he's going to spend 2 cubes to put 1 yellow die back in and then level up one of those yellow dice to an orange die. We need 5 or more hits to even do any damage here. I believe in us. I think we can do this. Let's see. We rolled a skull. Nope. So we got 2 successes. You know, this skull has shown up more than I think any of the other sides of these dice. It's only on one side, I swear. It's ridiculous. We'll now move to that end phase. We all get our action cubes back. Are you ready for this? We're first going to see if those transforming frogs transform, and one does into a rampaging frog, and it's going to come in and attack with that other rampaging frog. This frog over here will turn into a rampager. He will move 1, 2 into here. We now have a total of 6, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this space. That's the only good thing. But both of them are going to attack Johann, followed by these 2 attacking Johann. And then if Johann is somehow still alive, you know who's going to attack him, the big boss man. Because there are 2 other enemies in our space, we have to downgrade 2 dice for this melee attack. So we're going to roll 2 yellow and 1 orange. Come on, let's see what we get. We get a ×2 of a 1, so we take 3 damage. That's going to fill us up on our track, and we're going to move 1 down on our ectoplasmic stability. Don't forget that Johann doesn't take any injuries. What that means is you don't flip any of the damage tokens that he gets. Once it's filled, he takes damage in his ectoplasmic stability. When that goes down here to the bottom, he is knocked out. So that was the first attack. Let's see about the second one. We'll roll. Okay, we got a wild, but 2 nothings. Oh, yay, a wild. Let's make that a 2. That's a 3, so we only take 2 damage. Boom, boom. So we're down to here. But now we're going to get attacked by those venomous frog monsters. They're going to attack us from range. The advantage of that is we get to upgrade our dice. So we're going to roll 3 red dice for this first attack. And 2, 4. Oh, yeah, beautiful. Have more than enough for that. We only needed 5. And then our second one, we'll roll these up. 1, 2, 3, 4. We take 1 damage. Oh, my gosh. We're going to hopefully be able to at least do something. Well, I should say be able to defend against the boss attack before we die. And then maybe Hellboy and Abe can do something. Let's now draw our boss card. Come on, be something somewhat nice. Oh, summon minions. Spawn a minion A and a minion B in the area that is as far as possible from any agents, but no more than 1 room away from the boss. The lead agent chooses the exact area. That means that somehow Johann survived for the next round. We'll place the minion A and B here. This is considered a room. These are considered areas. It's supposed to be as far as possible from the agents, so we put them over here. So now we're going to move into that agent phase. Hellboy, what are you going to do to save Johann? Abe is somehow still alive with his 1 health left. He's going to go ahead and do a precise shot. He's going to use his harpoon here. You can flip this card to use it as a ranged weapon and then add 4 to the total test score. That basically is going to mean that we don't have to include any of the armor on the big boss man. Also, because I'm doing the precise shot, which takes 2 cubes, that means I get to ignore everything else that would normally impede my line of sight. So I would normally have to downgrade up to 3 dice. I'm not going to have to do that at all. All of them are going to be the regular amount, which would be 3 red. Unfortunately, with this, it'd be 2 red and 1 orange. Then I'm going to use this to power that up to 3 red, and then Hellboy is being awesome and allowing me to upgrade to 1 black, 2 red, and 1 effect die. And this, essentially, whatever I roll here is going to be damage. Can I deal 12 damage with that? If I get a 4 times a 2, that's 8, 9, 10. I can actually kill him here, potentially, if I get lucky. 12 damage, guys, right here. 12 damage. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 10 damage. He will only have 2 health remaining. All right, Hellboy. Come on, take him out. This is how ridiculous this game is getting. Johan is over here. He knows that Hellboy needs to move in here to attack. However, this space is full. Johan then is going to sacrifice himself. He's going to try and evade and move into this space. That means he's going to take 2 damage from him, 1 from him, and 1 from him, and he's going to die. He's done. So that gives 1 open space for Hellboy, who's going to go ahead and spend 1 action cube to move into this space, and then 1 cube to attack.
See, this is the part in the movie where they have that emotional scene where where he dies in Hellboy's arms, and Hellboy just glowers at the big boss and runs over there and smacks him good. Hellboy normally rolls 3 red dice, but because he's got that ancient blade, he gets to turn one of them into a black die. But since we have 2 other enemies in the actual space we're attacking, we have to downgrade this twice, bring it to an orange. Of course, I get the effect die, but Colin has nicely put our warding talisman out there so we can ward away the evil skull. We got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to turn this into a ×2, and the cinematic moment happens. We have done 6 damage. He's got 4 resilience. That's the 2 damage we need. Boom! We took out the frog guy, and we made the best movie that history has ever seen. Hellboy Part 7.
Somehow, Hellboy comes in, does the just last amount of damage that we needed to take out the big boss, and we win the game! Oh my gosh. Okay, that was a blast. I was not expecting that, and I'm sure we probably did some things wrong, but whatever. It was a blast to play. Bairnt, what do you think of the game?
This really was a surprise to me because you keep telling me, we gotta try Hellboy, gotta try Hellboy. And finally, I tried Hellboy. I am super pumped for this game. This is a really good game. I'm gonna have to try to go get a copy of this just so I can play it at home sometime with my family. This was so much fun.
Awesome. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, there's something about the cases and how they're all so different. I will say, like I said with the other ones, get the Kickstarter versions if you can. There's so much more content in the game itself. Because I will say, you guys have seen frogs now 3 times. You're probably ready to see different minion types, and there's tons of minion types with all the different Kickstarter extras. But if you just get the base game, that's the only minion type you're getting, and only 3 bosses. So I would say the bang for your buck, get a Kickstarter version. You can actually buy it right off of Mantic's website. And make sure to have a heck of a lot of fun, throw some right hooks, shoot some precise shots, sacrifice some people, and just have a boatload of fun. Thanks again to Bairnt for joining me. This was a blast. And don't forget, we've got live streams that are going out on our live one-stop stream channel. We have our podcast. We have a Discord where we all hang out. We've got lots of people that watch the channel, and we can talk with them. So you could talk to Bairnt or I. Make sure to check all of that out. It's in the description below. Hope to see you there, and thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you at the next stop.